Does this sound like your life? Scattered, jumping between tasks but never finishing. Saying yes when you want to say no. Avoiding hard conversations and holding it all in. It's time to stop overcomplicating life and turning it into your advantage. Experience T Now, a monthly membership designed to help parents, professionals, and dreamers like you conquer self-sabotage and thrive. Save your spot today. Get early access, a special gift, and start transforming your life. Because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Imagine a world where small acts of kindness create a ripple effect of support. A world where financial struggles never stand in the way of hope. That's the vision behind Community Pay It Forward. After a life changing motorcycle accident, I saw firsthand the devastating impact unexpected financial hardships can have on families. That's why I started Community Pay It Forward, to ensure that no one faces these challenges alone. Community Pay It Forward is more than just a single program. Through community impact and pACT podcasting, people all coming together, we amplify the voices of those making a difference. And with Community Dare to Care, we provide essential goods like clothing, food, and school supplies to those who need it most, to the community, from the community, for the betterment of the community. With Community Pay It Forward, we support families, children, veterans, community projects, no matter where they are. We are not just providing assistance, but hope for a brighter future, not just for people in need, but for businesses that are out there struggling, trying to find a way. Imagine a world where small acts of kindness create a ripple effect of support. A world where financial struggles never stand in the way of hope. That's the vision behind Community Pay It Forward. After a life changing motorcycle accident, I saw firsthand the devastating impact unexpected financial hardships can have on families. That's why I started Community Pay It Forward, to ensure that no one faces these challenges alone. Community Pay It Forward is more than just a single program. Through community impact and pACT podcasting, people all coming together, we amplify the voices of those making a difference. And with Community Dare to Care, we provide essential goods like clothing, food, and school supplies to those who need it most, to the community, from the community, for the betterment of the community. With Community Pay It Forward, we support families, children, veterans, community projects, no matter where they are. We are not just providing assistance, but hope. scanning this QR code in this corner right now and get your information in there. That form just says that, you know what, I understand that what I'm doing is for the company and it's a test, it's an unpaid, thing, basically, and just helps my advisors understand that you're here to help us, and you understand what we expect from you as well. So there is a place in there that you can help us get to the iStore, okay, to the iOS store. There is a place that you can drop a donation, which we would greatly, 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 greatly appreciate. But scan this QR code, fill out the information, and we will send you a link by the end of the week to where you can start helping us test the Community Pay It Forward app. Once we get this testing done, we have Mike go through and do any of the repairs or any of the work that he needs to do. We can get the app launched for real. And once this app gets launched, folks, we can really work at changing people's lives. So please, if you can be a beta tester for us, for the Community Pay It Forward app, very simply, scan the QR code, give us your information, and let's get this done. Let's get this done. Let's get this app out. I'm excited. If you can donate and get us onto the iOS store, thank you. If not, there's no obligation, okay? I'm not, look, I'm going to love you whether you can donate or not. Going to love you just for helping us out. So we have a wonderful, wonderful set of interviews just because my guests are wonderful, wonderful. We are starting a brand new show and we're introducing that show. The introduction of Alan Holmes's show was today. He's going to tell you a little bit about what he is expecting from himself, from me as the producer. I'm going to be in the background a lot of the time on this show, somewhat like I was with Sean. Many of you remember the Rev, and I was doing that show. I was just in the background for that one. I will, of course, be making appearances and helping Alan through it, but I'm excited because Alan did a great job with this show. He flat said that, you know what, he felt very comfortable and he loved it. He loved the vibe and he loved being able to do it. So, but we're going to be talking to Alan Holmes and he's going to introduce his brand new show, The Master Connectors Corner. Once again, please, if you can help us beta test the app, sign up. We have to have this form signed by you explaining that you understand what we need. So scan the QR code, get on here, let's get going. If you need me to email you the app, very simply send me a text 970-909-0751, 909-0751. Send me a text and say, hey, can I get that form? And I'll send you the form. But as soon as we're done listening to Alan introduce his wonderful show, we've got our great friend from across the pond. Um, uh, we've just another wonderful, wonderful conversation that in a long line of these conversations about rewired for men, and I asked a simple question this one: are we having difficulty with the recovery because of what we were always told before? And Joel White goes through and really starts to explain his thought on, because we were always told, well, rub a little dirt in it, you're going to be okay. You're a man. Men don't cry. Men don't feel. Blah, 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 blah. Did this hurt us? The answer is yes. Okay, the answer is flat out yes. It has led to our thought that we cannot be vulnerable. Man, I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. Stand up, be vulnerable, feel yourself, take it into yourself, and take care of yourself. Okay. So, but Joel's going to be coming up after we introduce my dear friend, Alan Holmes, and the Master Connectors Corner. Here we go. Great time, great show. Enjoy. Very, very excited today to launch a brand new show here on the PAC channel. Part of one of the things that we really want to focus on is doing good. Every single person in the world has aspirations to do good in some way. Um, well, this is one of those groups that you're seeing on your screen right now who focuses every day towards trying to do a lot of good. And Alan Holmes is the new host of his own show, and it's focused around giving, it's focused around veterans, and it's focused around doing good for others. So I am proud, as the founder of the PAC channels, to introduce you to Mr. Alan Holmes. Alan, take it away, brother. This is all yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Zach. Love you, brother. Community paid forward. Got to throw that in there. Here's the reason why I'm here. Alan Holmes, I specialize in community uh, essence of resources business. I'm a U.S. Army 13 Bravo veteran, a proud veteran, and I take care of my an amazing wife who has mental illness. Today is the very first show, the pilot show of a Master Connectors Corner. And when I say the Master Connectors Corner, it's not about me, it's about we. It's about a collaboration of resources. And over the years, I've met so many amazing individuals. And I want to thank you for all listening and tuning in for the very first show. Who knows what's going to come down the future, but it's going to be about giving, caring, elaborating, and just coming together, because it's not always about business. It's about checking in some folks. So you'll probably hear me throughout the along these times we're here together, eradicating poverty, ending mental health stigma, and educating on financial literacy. There's various resources, but it's always backed by a U.S. Army 13 Bravo veteran. Today, this individual who I actually, yes, you didn't think we're going to jump right into it, I guess, who is an amazing individual. He's actually the individual who's responsible for putting together, still a work in progress, but changing, ever so changing, Mr. Z. We love him dearly. Um, Mr. Z is somewhere in the, he's the, there he is. You'll know I have this sense of humor. Mr. Z, thank you for being my very first very first guest on this amazing platform, the Master Connectors Corner, partnered or independently, but collaborated with Community Paid Forward, who's put together this. Someone in the world told me that there is a Z World called Z World Cares. Can you elaborate on a little bit where and how you got started with this mission?
Absolutely. I want to first and foremost, say thank you, Zach, and playfully saying General Allen for having me here. I really do appreciate being a part of the first takeoff of the Master Connectors Corner, and of course from a civilian like myself, thank you, General Allen, for your services. Your sacrifice does not go unnoticed, and your efforts to make this world a better place does not go unnoticed. Just like the community pay it forward, where we all come together, where no one ever feels alone. Thank you both, gentlemen, so much for not only having me here, but bringing your audience to a place where we can collaborate, share, and make this world a better place, whether it's civilians, veterans, and those who are seeking that hope to find a community where we can pay it forward with master connectors like yourself and community givers like the both of you. It's truly humbling. And thank you for the kind words about the website. It's a work in progress, like we all are, but we don't improve by just thinking or learning. We learn by doing and improving on a daily basis. So thank you, gentlemen, for having me here. Uh, Briefly about Z World Cares. Z World Cares was it's a passion project of mine, which was inspired by the idea of giving back to the community, and the community pay it forward did play a part in that. Of course, community pay it forward has a lot more experience with paying it forward, but the idea of Z World Cares is to show Z World that you care. And now you might be asking, what is this thing called Z World Cares? Well, it's a platform that allows nonprofits to accept donations, connect with sponsors, find volunteership opportunities, and more importantly, show Z World that you care. Now, you might be wondering, how much does this all cost? Well, if you're a nonprofit, the only cost there is to show Z World that you care about making a difference, whether it's supporting our ignored veterans, helping our survivors of human trafficking, bringing awareness to the Americans with Disabilities Act. Our world is slowly dying as we speak due to animal pollution and poaching, and the list goes on. And there's a lack of I can't say on behalf of the medical community, but there's a lack of research and awareness with Alzheimer's, dementia, and of course, people who are neurodiverse, who are just seen as different people who are not at the level that they should be treated. And of course, there's a lack of funding for the education system. And there are people like yourselves and those who are watching as well who want to show Z World that you care, but they just don't have. They may have a platform, but they don't have a direct platform to do it. And thank you for sharing that. So if you want to support or join as a nonprofit today, please visit www.zworldcares.org. And of course, more importantly, visit yourdestinybeginshere.com and the communitypayitforward.us. My correction, communitypayitforward.us. Thank you, gentlemen.
Wow.
Hey Z,
Zach,
my question for you is: are there any types of nonprofits that you have to be to join Z World Cares, or is it open to nonprofits of all sorts?
That is a great question. It's open to all nonprofits as long as they're open to doing good in this world without doing harm to others. And you may notice some individuals that you already have or know in your community. So, to answer your question, a nonprofit who wants to do good, even if they don't have it registered as a 501c3, it shouldn't stop them from sharing their mission to make Z World a better place. But thank you for asking.
wow, wow. Yeah, this is as we're looking over the screens, ladies and gentlemen, and children and organizations around the world. This is the reason why would actually help birth the idea independently of why I do what I do as the Master Connect and Master Connectors Corner. It is it is great organizations and individuals like Mr. Z and Z World Cares, and of course, Humanity Paid Forward. We're all collectively working together. Even we know, no, Mr. J, for just for clarity purposes, everyone knows that we always rev each other. I had the honor and privilege of getting out as a specialist, not a general, but he calls me general. So that is a just one to play on fun. But Mr. Z, as I'm looking through this amazing list,
Thank you.
what are some of the criterias that someone can, when they move forward, they're looking at this like, am I big enough? Or do I have this? How do I get started? There's a million different questions. And knowing you for almost 2 years, I feel like I've known you a lifetime, just like Mr. Zach uh, here. What are some of the basic expectations that someone can expect when they become part of Z World Cares?
Thank you for asking, and it really means a lot. And didn't want to step on your toes, but yes, you're absolutely right. Playfully, I like to call you General Allen because you have the leadership skills, like Zach, to help people find the right connections that they need without just throwing introductions. Well, the first criteria is just have a name, have a motto, and ideally, it's not required, but have a donation. Like, how can we give back and support your cause? And not to get into politics, but there has been some issues with lack of government funding because of your, not saying your, but their initiatives. I can't get into the details, but I did speak with a nonprofit recently where she runs a museum, and they were given a $250,000 grant because they were doing an initiative to support a certain community, and they just pulled the plug because we don't support that anymore. I can't say the name for confidential reasons, but the minimum requirement is just the name of your nonprofit, your motto, a logo possible, and ideally a donation link or a website if you have one. But great question. Thank you.
Absolutely. And and as we journey through this show and God willing future shows with the Master Connectors Corner, there are often individuals who again become this is a pilot show. Just to let you know, we may accidentally on purpose mention Zero Cares several times throughout those who are listening. Mr. Z, you let's step back a little bit because anybody knows me. I can go, brrr, but I want to step down a little bit and just say, you are always a passionate person, a giving person. You have given me uh, multiples of connections and contacts, and so now we're here to give back to you. Where did you get this insight, or where did it all start? Without going too far back in history, but halfway. When did you come up with this idea?
Well, thank you for asking. And given that you both are connectors to your own right, it's only fair to share why I started this in the first place before fire was invented. Zero Cares came with the idea of just a, having talking to a lot of nonprofit organizations, as you both do. There's just a lack of funding, there's a lack of awareness, and I don't want to be that person to say, well, I could build you a website. That's just going to add more problems to an existing problem. Why not bring the awareness that's out there? And just like the Community Pay It Forward program, which has a fantastic program, which allows nonprofits to get seen and pay it forward with his system. And of course, yours, General Allen, with supporting our nonprofits, whether it's our veterans or individuals who just want to give back, but they just don't know where to connect to with the Grandmaster Connector like yourself. So the idea where it came from was I know there's a lot of uh, nonprofit directories, but I noticed that you have to sign up. You only get to see 3 nonprofits a day. And unfortunately, it's only exclusive for certain people who want to see the data. Why not make it accessible to everyone? I know I'm going to just hint to Zach. There are people out there that think the idea of accessibility on websites it's only for warehouses and storage containers. Well, why not make it accessible to everyone? And hey, it happens when people just happen to stumble upon a nonprofit. It's, oh wow, I didn't know this was a cause that actually happened, and I actually was able to find some. Well, not me. I'm sorry. Someone was able to find uh, this website organically just by searching support nonprofits, support veterans. Uh, how do I give back? And I just want to acknowledge that you both always encouraged me to give back to my community or our community, whether it's from New York, Colorado, to the straight out of Compton area of California. We have to give back, not because we have to, but it's the opportunity that we have. And I just want to put this out there. The reason why I enjoy working with nonprofits, and I'm like you both do, is our chances of being alive is 1 to 10 trillion. And if we're here today and tomorrow's not a guarantee, why not make it today to help a nonprofit in need while paying it forward like the both of you are?
Z, you were talking about accessibility, and I wanted to bring this up. And you and I, we have had our discussions with
Mm-hmm.
individuals who don't understand what website accessibility is. But while I was in the middle of recording a podcast with two individuals who were sight impaired, I played one of our videos, one of the videos that I create, and I realized they were hearing nothing but music because there was no words behind that. So they were not getting any of the effect of the video whatsoever. All they were hearing was music. And that's what we talk about when we talk about accessibility. Is if your if your website does not have the ability for to take out movement. There are a lot of people that you're going to eliminate. They can't come to your website because the movement is distracting and it makes them not feel well or whatever. If you can't increase the font size or something like that, it's devastating to some people. And people are not going to sit there and go and find a magnifying glass and look for all these new fangled technology things that they need to do just to look at your website. They're going to move on to the next one.
Well said. And if I may interject, putting on a widget isn't going to solve every problem. It's seeing the purpose of making a website accessible. And we can talk about a whole conversation about accessibility, but more importantly, if you make it accessible to everyone, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Zach, no one's going to go out of their way to make it accessible for themselves. It should be there by default. And I want to acknowledge the both of you of your awareness and your efforts to be all inclusive, regardless of their visual impairment, hearing impairment, cognitive impairment, and ensuring that the information that you have is being shared with the world, regardless of what quote disability they have. It's your efforts that really make a difference. And I'm just going to vent for a bit. You don't need to use scare tactics to make your website or your application accessible. Just be who you are and be honest. Be human.
Yes,
Brother.
that is coming from the second in command. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, I call myself a human search engine, but you see, that's where I get it from. You have to be human, be authentic, and the Master Connectors Corner happens to be authentic. Why? Because every so often we pull the rabbit out of the hat, like what I'm about to do now. Mr. Zach, who is a legendary community pay forward founder and creator. You and someone named, I don't know, Mrs. Z, has amazing abilities to bring things together with compassion and and care. Z cares, hint, hint. And how are you making a little difference in your corner besides assisting your brother from another with the first ever the Master Connectors Corner with someone of a project that both of you, yes, you knew it was coming, for our little furry friends, Give So Good. Is that part of the uh, whole world? How did you two, yes, I know you'll probably after I get off air here, but you two came together with a amazing gift for the ones who really care about the our little furry friends. How did you two come up with that idea? Uh-oh, I can't, Mr. Zach,
Yeah, I
Mrs. Zach.
actually have to
Oh,
give
yeah.
the creation of this to the big man Z, because he's the one who created Gifts So Good, and he brought me in. And anybody who follows my show knows I've got the fish in the background. I've got dogs running around all the time. Got a 27-year-old spider. My wife has a bird. We've got a cat. We've got two more dogs that you never see. So, I mean, it's just we don't have a house, we have a zoo. So, and pets are so one important in your family, and two, they are vital in the survival of certain people. Um, and a lot of the research that I've done for like the 22-hour podcast, we've done it on animal therapies, and it's amazing to me the extensive output that pets can give you. I talk about it all the time. I'll sit in here in the mornings when I'm trying to get rid of my headache, trying to calm my headache down, and I'll just sit there and listen to the water in my fish tank, nothing else. And it's just nice and cool and serene, and relaxing, and it helps me get rid of my headaches in the morning. And that's part of pet therapy. Of course, I've always got the dogs around that come and show their love. And look, a dog, I watched a video the other day of an animal that took and knew mom was going to have a seizure, and he walked up and it nudged mom, and it took and grabbed her shirt and gently pulled her to the ground. And when it had opened up the fridge, grabbed her a bottle of water, and then when she laid down, this dog laid down on her chest, just so laid his head on her chest, just so she knew that something was there. These animals are brilliant, and when Z brought this opportunity to me, uh to be part of this, you came to mind immediately because of your compassion. And this is just a way that we can turn the expense of pet care into caring about others, and really focusing on the community pay it forward world, where we can turn a purchase into something so amazing.
Absolutely. And for those who are wondering, what we're talking about at this point, Zach may accidentally on purpose put it up so far. It's on yourdestinybeginshere.com, but Gift So Good is just another one of many resources that is part of the Master Connectors Corner, the Z Cares community. And I'm hoping that as each one of you out there listening, we encourage you to come up with your idea, to be, I don't know, a guest on the Master Connectors Corner, because somewhere along the line, our journey is going to our paths are going to cross. And somewhere it may be in the Z World Cares. It may be in the community Pay It Forward. It may be in the Your Destiny Begins Here. Somewhere along you have a gift. So thank you uh, for being part of our world. This is pre-recorded, so we may see you somewhere in the near future, but get a hold of us. As we come closing out on our very first Pioneer show, I am so honored again to uh, be part of the Gift So Good world. Make sure you pet your little ones. And when I say little ones, I mean the little furry ones. Our other little ones, the human kinds, the I'm big out to the world. See, I just come up with names, anything. Anybody, you'll get to know the show as we go on. But as we coming to a close here, any final thoughts, ideas from the legendary guest, unofficially, officially, you didn't expect it, Mrs. Z. Can you tell us, how do we get a hold of you? Oh, that's what I forgot. Should have asked at the beginning. How do they get a hold of the Grand Z?
Oh,
What is the best way to connect with you?
thank you. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much again for having me here. It's like I got the first ticket to the first class seat in your private jet, whether it's Dominion or to Caribbean. I really appreciate you having me here. If you'd like to get a hold of me, please do find me at the communitypayitforward.us/Z World Webs. You'll see me there. And please, if you're looking to connect, well, definitely reach out to my brothers from another mothers or Zach. And of course, or as I like to call him, the good Z, General Allen, the master connector, or dare I say, the grand master connector, always be in your corner connecting. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Mr. Zach, the legend, the incomparable, the individual who came to me and allowed me to be a part of this and move it forward when I was in my little rabbit hole somewhere else.
Yeah,
How does
yeah.
someone get a hold of a support community forward, and be a part of this whole world outside of the confines of this thing called internet or space?
You say uh, all these wonderful, wonderful things, and the truth is, You call me the man, the myth. I'll take and expand on that a little bit. The man, the myth. Hey, look, a squirrel. That's kind of the part that I play there. So how you can get a hold of me, and look, community pay it forward, community dare to care, and the pack channels is very, very honored just to be a small part of this, Alan, and have you come on and represent your heart on our channel, and really take in and learn more from you, because we think that stories are so important. um, if we listen to people's stories, we can learn so much about not just them, but about ourselves. And so, having you on here to tell your stories, to tell the stories of your guests, I am so looking forward to that. But how you get a hold of me is by scanning the little QR code that's up in the corner there. And that is my For My card, which is one of our wonderful, wonderful giving partners, as are both of you. And so I just wanted to put that up there real quick. Hey, Alan, I did want to talk to you real quick and ask you a question, and make sure that you get a chance to explain a new program that you've got. That you've got an offer that you brought to me last week. Can you tell people about that?
Oh, if you're referring to the nonprofit, it's called Marketing Boost. It is one of many, many resources that uh, it has to do with incentives. And when we say the word incentives, it is not so much as the bait and switch incentives. It is the kind of incentives about coming from the heart. Whether you do business with us or not, we would like to give you and learn about a amazing tool called Marketing Boost. It's actually on Your Destiny Begins Here, and the one that we're referring to is has to do with the nonprofit sector, as we are here with the community pay it forward. So many nonprofits are really hurting. They're needing donations that not big names. So I brought that one because in my humble opinion, it's an alignment with community paid forward and Z Cares is all about, and what the Master Connectors Corners uh, show is about. So that's what it is. It's something that definitely get a hold of me at area code 951-599-8141, or visit Your Destiny Begins Here, and you'll learn a little bit more so we can support great and amazing organizations that are making an impact in the world, like Z World Cares and Community Pay Forward. This is what we do at Master Connectors Corner. We surprise you, we empower you, but it cannot be done without the ground finds and the great likes of Z World Cares and Mr. Zak Clayton here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is honor and privilege, and children of the world, thank you for being part of our pilot. Um, Reach out to me or Zach, Mrs. A, about your dreams and ideas. And somewhere along the line, you may be up on the screen here. We're looking for you because there's a guest coming up. She's an international speaker coming up very soon. Oh, she knows who she is. And if you want to know who she is, uh, prepare to look for her in the near future, and stay on and stay in contact with the back channel, Z World Cares, and of course, Community Pay Forward. Ladies and gentlemen, any final thoughts? Oh, see, there's no ladies in right here, but who knows? Ladies, you're always here. You're always welcome. The world is welcome if as long as you're honest, ethical, moral, and you behave yourself. If you're not, then we have to set you outside. Um, Zach, Mrs. Z, final thoughts. Boy, in the closing, as much as I can run my mouth 8 hours, there's a world out there that has things to do called life. Behave yourself, be good to one another. I love you, honor you. The final thoughts go to two legends who, if it hadn't been for them, I wouldn't be here today. Mrs. Zach, Mrs. Z.
I just know that coming up the first part of next month, we've got Jill Lublin, sorry, who's going to be joining us on the first show, on the first official show here. So we're really looking forward to that. We had some internet problems, or it was supposed to be in the can already, but we worked around the internet. It doesn't work for us, right? So. But Alan, thank you for making me part of your first show. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for sharing everything with us. And now, Mr. Z, I'll give you the last word.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Talk about zoos, and you can't spell zoos without a Z like myself. But and you're also a Z too, but a good Z. I want to say thank you, General Allen, for having me here, and Zach for putting this meeting together, and of course, talking to you both only ignites my passion to do good in this world. And if it's one thing or many things that you both teach me, is that we can always support others, but we don't have to do it alone. Hear their stories, help people. And if you need help yourself, there's no shame in asking for help. So I want to say thank you both very much for helping me get the Z word out there for Z World Cares, and for you both for helping me ignite my passion project, whether it's for pets, nonprofits, and doing good to our fellow man or humans. Thank you both so much for having me here. I don't take this for granted. Any opportunity to speak with great people like yourselves gives me a purpose in life. Thanks to the both of you. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome. And until next time, we'll see you on the side of the Master Connectives Corner. If you have an idea, thought, or you have a inkling to be a part of it, let us know. Until next time, this is Alan Holmes, also known as Master Connected in the Master Connectives Corner, with my other brothers from others, Mr. Z, Z World Cares, and Zach Clayton Community Pay It Forward. Behave yourself. We love you, honor you.
Every car that rolls into your shop is more than just repair, it's someone's lifeline. Now, what if every repair could also be a lifeline for someone in need? When you join Community Pay It Forward, a portion of each job can help a family, veteran, or nonprofit without costing your customer anything extra. With the Shop, Click, and Pick program, your shop keeps cars running. Let's keep communities running too. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. I want to thank Alan and tell him that I appreciate everything that he's doing. I'm really looking forward to his show joining the pACT channel. I also want to give a very, very special shout out and a thanks to Things Network for everything that they've done for Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels, for, including keeping us on air. Look, when it comes to this show, this is nothing like what they do on Things Network. Okay, Things Network is a fun network of people who are in the paranormal world. But Jeremy, the founder of Things, really appreciates what we do and participates in everything that we do as well. And Jeremy is one of my very best friends. I know that he and Adrian are great friends, and I appreciate that opportunity to get to meet him and get to be part of the Things family. So, to everybody at Things, welcome to the show, and please, again, just to let everybody know, the QR code up in the corner. That's how you can beta test our app. We need your help. We want to make sure that's going. Uh, you help us, that app gets out there to help everyone. Coming up next, I've got one more spot for you, and then coming up next, we've got Joel White. And again, very simple question that's very complex at the same time. Are we a victim, as men, are we a victim of the way that we were taught? Not maliciously. It's not a malicious thing. It's just, it's kind of the way, look, kind of the way it was when we were kids. You know, you're not supposed to have emotion. You're not supposed to have, uh, you know, vulnerability. You're not supposed to have this stuff. You're a man. You're supposed to get up, do your job, and move on. Are we a victim of that? So I'll be right back with Joel White.
Hello, world. My name is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer, and I am also a consultant at Z World Webs. My one goal is to develop custom websites that are specifically catered to your organization's needs. I completely understand that building a website is an exhilarating, exciting, and significant step in connecting with your audience. Your organization has the potential to make a meaningful impact, whether it's supporting animal rights, advocating for equality, combating human trafficking, or honoring the brave individuals who have served our country. Your mission is too important to be held back by the challenges a website can present. And I am here to ensure that your website works for you, not against you. Whether it's maintaining, developing, or redeveloping a custom website that is specifically catered to your needs. And with that being said, I would be more than delighted to learn more about your organization and, of course, develop a website the world is waiting for.
Very excited to have Joel White back with us today, Rewired for Men. Joel, how you doing over there across the pond?
Across the pond, mate, I'm doing fine. You know, it's a miracle over here at this moment. The sun is out. It's a very rarity, but particularly in rainy Manchester where I am, you know, there's something obviously going wrong outside with the nature because
Yeah.
we've got the sun in spring. And at this moment in time, which probably isn't the high for you guys over there, but it's like 23, 24 degrees for the last few days. So, yeah, long may it continue. So,
Yeah, well, that's let's see, 23, 24. I'm trying to do the math and put that into Fahrenheit, because here in America we're not smart enough to figure out all that other stuff. You say 23, 24 degrees
hold
to
on.
us?
Yeah, Google says 75 degrees
There
Fahrenheit.
you go. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. See, you say 23, 24 degrees to us, man. We start going, holy man, that's cold. I don't like that stuff. So that's very cold. Hey, Joel, we've got a lot of places that we could go right now because, we, uh, let's be honest here. We just had Trump just signed a thing calling May Mental Health Awareness Month. I think he was following really the what you over there in the UK put forward, making this Mental Health Awareness Month. But we got to stop with the awareness BS. We got to do more than awareness. Look, I mean, awareness is good as long as you're actually being aware. But we've got too many people who are aware and not doing a damn thing about it, right?
Absolutely, Zach. You know what I mean? It's in the UK, it's got bananas, absolutely gone bananas, where there's literally new awareness of something every few weeks or every month, and it's just overwhelming. Do you know what I mean? And it just blows your mind. And like you're saying, then, it's great making people aware of it. Then so what? Do you know what I mean? And one of the things we were talking about before we just come live, that in the UK, we're in the middle of Mental Health Awareness Week, and everybody puts up the posters and puts in the social media because they want to be on the bandwagon, and the employers stick the posts on the wall, and the email bulletins go around all the staff, and everybody feels good, and the mental health champions go, yeah, Mental Health Awareness Week, let's raise money for this, or blah blah blah. Or the theme in the UK at the moment is community, which is really important. But when that week comes to end, Zach, it's like, yeah, that's it, we've done our bit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Next.
yeah, and this is, anybody who's listened to the 22-hour podcast, they know what I'm going to say next. And the truth is that, where in World War II we were calling it shell shock, or we were, saying that they were less of, you weren't a man if you let your emotions out, you were less manly, you were, just being a wimp, you were being a wuss. Well, and we gave it the name PTSD. We gave it this beautiful scientific name. But that's where we really left it, because the treatment for it's non-existent. Because I don't want to say it's non-existent, but it doesn't. I think the biggest problem with mental health right now, Joel, is very, very simple. People don't want to find the help that they need because there's that stigma attached to it. And we need to break that stigma. That's the main thing we've got to get rid of. We're never going to defeat this if people are going to feel bad about getting help.
Yeah, very much so. And, the piece around awareness obviously is important. It's a starting place, but it's like the steps after that is that are really important. That are almost missing in society, right? Aren't always taken into consideration, regardless if you're in America or the UK or anywhere in the world. It's that acceptance going, yeah, I am struggling with whatever you want to put after that. Or what I sort of say to clients, I'm living with this, whatever the this is. And then actually taking the action, being encouraged by others to take that action. And then the appreciation comes into that, I can do something about it. There's a whole cycle piece there. But literally, we've only just got the first cog, the first stone, and kind of that's it. And like I said, when that starts to get rolled towards the end of your 7-day awareness week, or in your case, your 4-week or 5-week month, just when people just not start to have conversations next, you move on to the next month or the next campaign. And it's just really poor because, one of the things I was saying to you before is that if these awareness weeks are working, for instance, like I said, we're in Mental Health Awareness Week in the UK. If it is working, why are male suicide rates still so high? Why are men so in astronomical rates of self-harm, engaging in substance misuse, whatever it is, depression, anxiety? Why are these continuing to rise? Because surely if it was working, these ideas of Mental Health Awareness Week or whatever week you want to call it, wouldn't these go down? Surely they would, but obviously they don't, because it's obviously not working. It's not enough just to raise awareness. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and I when you look at it, Joel, this is almost like when you go to court and if a lawyer says something and the judge looks at the jury and says you need to strike that. Strike that from the conversation. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We've heard for so long you are not a man if you let this bother you.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's okay, but you've heard your entire life you're not allowed to think this way. You're a man, suck it up, rub a little dirt in it. And you're not going to just take and all of a sudden go, oh, okay, screw history. I'm in a new world. That's not the way this goes. And that's one of the reasons why we're still struggling with this.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, with that. And again, it comes into a lot of what I do and how I work with men is getting into those unconscious beliefs and working with them. Because if you don't do that, then you ain't going to change the rest of it. And one thing which I'm really passionate about, and I know you are as well, is that it's overcoming them so-called stereotypes that are not helpful. Like a real man is somebody who can man up and get on with it and don't show emotion and stiff upper lip or whatever term you want it, or you get the ones like, men don't talk or blah, blah. They're all garbage. They're not helpful and they're not true. None of them are true. It just doesn't serve you anymore. You know what I mean? I was speaking to somebody else before, and what I class a real man to be, and I've got a video about this on my website. Real man is somebody who can show emotion, who's present in the conversations that they have, who are not going down the pub getting absolutely smashed out the faces or engaging in risk-taking behaviour. They're emotionally regulated, they're balanced, they're clearer in regards to who they are, their identity, how they show up each day. That's what makes a real man. Somebody who's willing to learn from their mistakes and do things differently. Take responsibility, accountability. That's how I see a real man to be. So someone who admit, hey, I've made a mistake, but I'm going to do this about it instead. That's what's a real man, and that's what we should be striving for in society, and just doing these bloody awareness weeks of blah blah around a certain theme that is great for 1 week but isn't for the other 51 weeks of the year. from that degree.
Let me ask you this question, and I was just kind of thinking about this when you brought up the going out and getting smashed and stuff like that. Having friends and being able to talk to friends is it's a good thing, okay? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody you shouldn't have friends and you shouldn't talk to friends, but let's be honest here. Friends are that group of people that you can get together with and you can bullshit your way through a lot of stuff. And they're going to stick behind you through a lot of that bullshit. They're going to sit there and they're going to accept some of your the way that you think because they think they know you and they think that's what you need. So a lot of times when we talk to our friends, this can be I guess what I'm what I'm asking is this one way that you can fool yourself into thinking that I'm talking to somebody is if I'm talking to a friend, even though it's probably not the healthiest conversation to have.
Yeah, and again, that comes in something interesting in the conversation I was having with somebody yesterday around things that, friends, whether they're male or female, they tend to fall into two categories. There's fair weather friends who are kind of there when things are going well, and they
Mm-hmm.
say things that kind of please you. Or there's foul weather friends who stand by you and don't want to just please you. They're upfront. They say as it is that they hold you responsible and accountable. I know which friends I want and what of the individuals that have around me are the foul weather ones because those are the ones you want in your life. You don't want the vampires who suck you dry or you just want to borrow money off you or you buy them a drink or whatever. It's not healthy. You know what I mean? It's not pulling you up, it's pulling you down. You know what I mean? And what's really important to reflect upon this is it's easy to blame your friends around, in regards to some of the things I've just said, but it's actually important to look at yourself. How are you showing up? How are you showing up in the relationships around you? And more importantly, how are you showing up in the relationship with yourself? Because that relationship you have with yourself and how you show up will influence the friends or the types of friends that you have around you. Do you know what I mean? Because they are a mirror of where you are at in your life. And if you're not happy with some of your friends, then you need to make a change because
Yeah, and
it ain't working anymore, is it?
it's not like you're going to hang around with somebody who's always getting on your ass about the way that you're acting. You're not going to sit there and continue to hang out with somebody who's going to sit there and tell you that everything that you're doing is dumb. I mean, that's not that's not what you're going to seek out in friends. We can all say that we don't want to hang out with a bunch of yes men, but none of us want to hang out with a bunch of, hell no men either. Because, I mean that can just bring you down, but you just got to be very, very careful when you talk to a friend that you got to understand, you know, that they're first off, chances are they're not always going to give you what's best for you. Your friends are going to want you to feel better at the end of the day. They're not going to want to send you home and make you think about what you just heard like a therapist a lot of times does. Challenge you to think about what you just heard. They're going to want you to sit there and say, "You know what? I went out with my friend. I had a really good time. We had a talk. I feel so much better." That's the way that's going. A lot of times feeling better is, and especially when it's involving cocktails, it's a temporary, there's temporary sanity there.
Absolutely. Again, which what's really interesting, and again, I don't know how this resonates in the US, but it does in the UK. And I always really challenge myself with this and challenge other people around, what's the most important relationship in your life? And I usually get random things like, my dog, my cat, my wife, my children, blah, blah. And when really, from my own perspective, none of that is important. What's actually important is the relationship you have with yourself.
Yeah.
That should be your number one relationship in your life. Is that what you have? And how often I was at a really good network meeting today. The woman really nailed something which was fantastic. It's like, you know, when you look in the mirror in the morning, who do you see? Do you know what I mean? Who do you really see? Do you know what I mean? Do you see yourself or do you just brush your teeth and move on? How often do you stand there in the mirror and actually challenges yourself? How is Joel today? How is Joel going to turn up? What's Joel not happy with? What's Joel going to do to change that? How would Joel know if he's done that? Why is that important to Joel? How often do we actually ask these questions to ourselves and challenge ourselves every day? Just one of those questions, just to literally start your day off, is just look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself that. Because I'll let you into a secret, Zach, and we're sure we talked about this before. A lot of the problems we have in our own lives, we create them.
Oh,
The
yeah.
beauty of it is what can we learn from them? And more importantly, who's got the solutions to a lot of the problems? Ourselves. If only we're willing to accept that and take personal responsibility and accountability, we then find that we can then move on, and lo and behold, healthy relationships come along because you start to lift, other people join you on that way. And the ones who pull you down, guess what you got to do with them, Zach? You got to wave bye-bye because it's
Yep.
not helping you. They're not serving you anymore.
And accountability is so important. Growing up, I don't know how many times I used the words, yeah, I made a mistake. Or, you know, eh, yeah, or some other BS, statement. When the truth is, you know what? I made a choice. And it
Yeah,
was a terrible choice. And that was something that, there's no mistake about it. I had two paths to walk, at least two paths to walk, and I made the choice to walk down that one path, and that was the wrong path.
yeah,
I, you know, it could have been because I was ill-informed. Usually not. Usually it was just a path of stupidity, and I fully head on ran down that. But that's really something that, accountability has told me, no, you made that choice.
yeah,
You live with that choice. You learn from that choice. That choice did not lead to all the mistakes in your life. How you deal with it now is what's important. You know,
absolutely,
if you keep
absolutely.
looking at that choice, letting that choice ruin your life, then you've got a problem. You need to look at it and say, okay, this is what I did. There's no, God, if I just wouldn't have done that, that doesn't exist. There's no such thing. There's not a life when you can sit there and do the whole I dream of genie thing and it's going to change. Okay, that's not happening. Stop thinking about it. Start, this is what I did. What do I need to do next to make sure, first off, I don't make choices like this anymore? And second off, I take and I can build myself from here.
Absolutely. And there's a phrase that I do challenge myself with every day. And it's this, please forgive me for whatever I've done wrong, knowingly or unknowingly. But give me another opportunity to get it right next time. Because that's what it's like. Anybody can go around and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Brilliant. Sorry, but are not useful. What's more useful is sorry, and I'm going to do this instead, or give me another opportunity to try it. You know what I mean? That's what's more important. I'd say practicing what you preach and showing up and learning from what you've been doing. That's what's really important, massively.
I just, I really think it's important, and I don't agree with a lot of, like the 7-step programs and stuff like that. I don't. They wouldn't be something that I would do myself. Saying this, I have a lot of friends who have went through them, and it has done very well for them. It's one of the reasons why we need to make sure that we're telling everybody about every conceivable healing process out there, like what Joel does. That way, you can make sure that you're giving people informed information, because where the 7-step process isn't for me, it could be for you, and we need to make sure that we're letting people know about that. Okay, I mean that's so very important. But the one thing that the 7 step process has that I really really uh take and believe it's a very important part of your life is making sure that you make it up to other people.
Mm,
You face the people that you've hurt. You really you take and if you're hiding from someone, if you're hiding from yourself because you made that quote unquote mistake, if you're hiding from yourself saying, you know what, if I don't think about it, it hasn't happened. That's
mm,
dangerous, right?
mm. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. And it all goes back to that accountability piece. The other thing which comes into it, which is also really important to bring in from a slightly different angle, is you must come across this the old blame game, where you meet somebody who's got something going on and straight away, they blame the childhood, they blame the mum, they blame the
Yeah,
dad, they blame the ex-wife, they blame the brother, sister, they blame next door's cat, the dog, oh
I
my
was
God,
young. I was
they
young.
actually they blame themselves being young. Everything is just blame, blame, blame. It's like, awesome. What are you going to do about it now? Are you going to spend the rest of your life blaming yourself when you were younger? Blaming your dog or blaming your cat or blaming your mom or blaming whatever. Now, I'm not here dismissing people's experiences of what they've been through when they've been younger, with the mum, the dad, the partner, whatever. I'm not. What I'm challenging is what you're going to do now. What you're going to do now in your life to take on accountability and responsibility to move forwards. That's what it comes back to. What are you going to do now? But also, which is a bit challenging a bit further, is whether we like it or not, a lot of those situations, we were also, accountable and responsible for being in them in the first place. Do you know what I mean? We also had a role in those. And I'm taking my own experience, some of the things that happened to me. You know what I mean? It wasn't just them doing it to me. I was continually turning up to that unhealthy interaction or that relationship or that environment, whatever it is. And I'm just as responsible as the other people are in regards to that. And if anything, how much energy does a person waste by constantly blaming other people? And what happens that when people get locked in that blame game? You know what life does? It just repeats the pattern and goes, okay, so you want more of this, do you? Because you keep asking for it. So I'm just going to keep giving it to you. When these things happen to us in our lives, from my personal perspective, I wouldn't change any of the things that I've been through, whether I've caused them or otherwise. Why? Because of what learning and enrichment I've got from them to bring me to where I am now in my life, doing what I'm doing going forwards. And again, all very at these conversations where I went to again another network event yesterday, and they had some quite high profile individuals. There were 4 people on like a panel, and they all had incredible stories around adversity and how they'd taken responsibility for that and what they'd gone on to do with their lives and and I love it when the person who's asking the question on the stage goes, does the audience have a question? And I'm like, yeah, I've got a question. I love asking questions that not for me to look good. It's about I love asking that question and seeing the people on stage start to shine. Their eyes kind of light up and you just
Yeah.
see them glow. It's beautiful. And I sort of said to these 4 people, if you could get every single person in your life who's been a naysayer and put you down and done this and done the other and put them in this room in front of you of where you are now, what would you say to them? And pretty much the theme across all 4 of them was I would thank them. I would thank them for what they put me through, for me to learn what I needed to learn to be where I am now. Because that's what it's about, personal responsibility and accountability. Things happen. It's up to you if you want to phrase them as good, bad, or ugly. Fantastic. But what are you going to do about that? What other story are you going to create going forwards? And this almost goes right back around to the beginning of finding ourselves in Mental Health Awareness Week or Mental Health Awareness Month. Brilliant. We've all got a story about where we've got to now. But what are you going to do past that point of awareness? What steps are you going to put into place? Not tomorrow, not next week, not in 6 months' time. What are you going to do right here, right now? And that could be a small step, like if you realize you're drinking too much, put the drink down the sink. Just that one drink for tonight. If you realize you like taking cannabis and using a lot of that, we'll stop that joint at 6 p.m. tonight. Start somewhere.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, start somewhere.
Yeah, and when what you just said right there, look, you are going to succeed if the chances are you're going to succeed more if you go into it with a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody sits there and they say, you know what, I'm done. I'm not drinking anymore. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. And they don't really put any thought behind it. I'm not going to say they're not going to succeed. I have no idea. Maybe they will. But if you put a little bit of thought behind it, if you put a little bit of planning behind it, if you put a little bit of accountability behind it, then your success will rise. The levels of success will rise. I was a 3 packs a day smoker, and I set the time, the date, and my goals. And I was putting my cigarette, I was taking and destroying every cigarette that I had left at 6 o'clock on February 6th, and this was 17 years ago. February 6th, 17 years ago, and 6 o'clock came, or 5:50. I went outside, I smoked my last cigarette, I put that out. Haven't touched a cigarette since, but I had a plan. I had a goal, and I made it real. I made it something that, you know what? This is what I want. And you got to walk into it knowing this is what you want, not thinking. If you think that you want to quit, you're not, you're not taking it serious. You have to know this is, this is it. I'm done. I'm done making these mistakes. I'm done drinking. I'm done doing this. I can't do this no more. I can't do it to myself. I can't do it to others. I'm done. No, the words I think give you an out.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think which is really interesting. Again, this comes up a lot around things is, if you want to make a change, find your why. Find that why. Whatever it is to you, doesn't matter about other people, find your why. Because at times on that journey of making that change, like, it's going to get hard. You want to give up or whatever it is. But if your why is solidly in place, the how doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Because the why is what's important. And that's about everything in life. If you haven't got a why, then what's the point? Do you know what I mean? What's the point? What's the point of even putting anything into action to make that change? It's just not going to happen at all.
Why doesn't have to be big, does it?
No.
I mean, the why can be, look, I'm sick and tired of waking up hungover. And if you take that serious enough, then that can be what leads you to quitting. But you have to take it serious. You got to take accountability on this. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to awareness, let's get back to this. We kind of went off topic here. Awareness is something that, look, it's we understand what they're doing. We need to bring awareness to this. But again, awareness is not our problem. Action is our problem, the lack of action. And that's what we need to start focusing on. This mental health awareness Okay, it's great. We've got a mental health problem. I just said that, Joel. Did I change anything in that statement?
No.
No, I didn't change a damn thing in that statement. All I did was tell people what they already know. What do we need to do to make sure that we stop with the awareness and we start taking action?
Mm, absolutely. Because that's the important piece. Giving, it's great, like you said, going, this is what anxiety is and blah, blah, blah. Fantastic. But what action it comes next? What does that look like? What does a person need to do? What do they think they need to do to move that forward? Because that's the important piece.
Some of the actions, Joel, that we can let's take, and with the remainder of this show, let's maybe come up with some small actions that people can take that are going to make a difference. Okay,
Mm,
because if we sit there and we tell people, look, you've got to talk, not everybody is made for talking. Okay, and first off, talking to somebody with the mental issue is one of the worst things you can do. Listening is the most important thing you can do.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
you can't talk and tell somebody what their problem is. You need to listen to what their problem is. So, first off, don't think that you need to talk to somebody. Listen. And when you listen, put the damn phone down. Okay? And get ready because the stories are ugly. What they're feeling is ugly. And it's not look, you're not going to walk away with a smile on your face most likely. But you need listen to what they're saying. What's the old saying about God gave me two ears and one mouth, and there's a reason for that? So, but that would be my thing. Joel, what would you say people need to do?
I think the thing coming into that is the person in front of you is not broken. They don't need fixing.
No, 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 no,
They've
absolutely
lost the
not.
way. And also, as well, it ain't your job to fix them either. Do you know what I mean? You are there, like you said, to listen. And what's quite interesting is again how all at these conversations are is how men operate. And a lot of the time, men really do operate from logic and reason. They've got a problem going on, whether it's around mental health or whatever it is. They just need someone to be a sounding board, is what they need. And if you're just willing to listen, if you're a man or a woman and there's a man presenting in front of you that's got an issue going on, just listen. You're there as a sounding board. And if you ask them, what do you think of that? Or how do you think you could do that differently? Or what's come to mind for you? 9 out of 10 times, men will find their own solutions within themselves. That's the best thing you can do for a man is around that. Do you know what I mean? It's just being present, not having a mobile phone in the hand. And also, obviously, what we've been talking about here, listening. Don't feel you got to jump in. Just let them talk. Let them find that solution themselves a lot of the time. And if they can't find that solution, which can happen, then perhaps do a bit of prior research about what's in your local area around anxiety support or depression, whatever it is, or a website. Have a few on your mind where you can go, well, really appreciate you sharing that with me. Have you thought about whatever it is? I'll leave it with you, and my door's always open scenario. That can be really helpful and really useful. And wait for that person to come back to you. Don't necessarily ask them the next day. So have you rang them up or have you gone on that
I
website? Or whatever? Because that's not really helpful either.
Yeah. Did you figure your shit out? Are you good now? I mean, did you get it all out of your system? I think the other important thing, like you said, I do love that. And again, folks, remember, you don't. It's not a terrible thing if you are not a person who can handle listening to them. The worst thing to do is to walk away without doing anything. We need to make sure that, say, look, I'm not in a position in my life right now where I think that I could help you by listening. Okay. Who can I help you find? Who would you talk to right now? You know, that's a question you can ask, because there are some things that maybe this person's going through that maybe is a little bit of a trigger for you. Okay. You're struggling with alcohol. Maybe this person's struggling with alcohol too. You know, two people struggling with alcohol where there's a similarity there might not be a lot of answers there, because you both have that same fight that's going on, where the support could be fantastic if you do it right. But if two people are, beating their head over a fence, slamming their face into the wall every time they turn around trying to quit drinking, chances are you're going to have a drinking buddy, not somebody, not a support system. So, you know, but, you don't have to always be that one, but never, ever walk away thinking it's going to work itself out on its own, because it don't.
Mm. Absolutely. And again, one that I always talk about a lot of the time is the importance of time for yourself. Make that time. A lot of the time when things come up for somebody, we're taught, particularly as men, to move. Don't allow that emotion in. Move on. Blah blah blah. Just sit in that for a period of time. Be okay just sitting in it. It's okay. Find a way to express that emotion, whether it's crying or shouting or screaming or whatever, because that's healthy. Because men are very external around that, and it's important to find a mechanism what works for you, not trying to avoid it by doing whatever else you're doing. Take that time just to check in with yourself and be okay with that.
There's something that us guys, we love to be fans of sport. One of the things that I do that since I've started doing this, I have noticed that the stress a lot of times is no longer there. But Joel, I go out, I play racquetball. I'm going to tell you this, man, there's nothing like taking and smacking the snot out of that little blue ball every once in a while, just because it doesn't matter how hard I hit it. It doesn't, it relieves some of my own. Now, it also causes a lot of stress, like when I take and I smack that little blue ball and it comes back and hits me in the face, like it did a couple times this morning. But look, guys, there's always things that you can do about that. I mean, and the greatest thing about racquetball is you can take and you can take and hit that ball and get that primal scream and all that other, just that frustration out, and you're in a place where it's okay to do that. Do a little bit of, go weightlifting where people are screaming around you as well. It, if that grunting, that scream, that primal, that feeling is what you need, do it. If you need to throw on headphones, go for a long walk, do it. Go for a walk in a look, your healing is a personal journey. Okay? You are the only one who knows how to heal yourself. All right. Don't let anybody tell you that they know how you feel, because that's bullshit. No, they don't. Nobody can tell me how I feel. Nobody can tell Joel how he feels. You know, we might feel similar, and Joel is very, very well versed in ways that, in a program that he's built to help you discover how you feel. Because a lot of times, like we've said, we have to get over that feeling of, well, this isn't right. This isn't what I've been told my entire life, that it's
Mm,
okay to, let my emotions go.
mm. Absolutely. And again, just to expand on that, it's beyond what I do, Zach. I don't just help men, I empower them. I empower them by getting into those unconscious beliefs, which is where it's all at, and making those changes. But coming back to something you said there as well, things we're talking about here, men, women, whoever's listening to this, we're always talking about the small shifts. Do you know what I mean? Another one which has come to mind is the hell yes or hell no filter. You know, before you take anything on or you make a decision that's caught you out before, just pause. You know, pause before you say yes to it. You know, sit in that for a moment. You know, what's coming up for you? Do you know what I mean? Perhaps what's coming up for you in your gut is this ain't a good idea. You know what happened last time. So just say no. Do you know what I mean? Don't just go along with it because you did it last time. Say no and be okay saying a no. And as you start to do that and check in with yourself in perhaps these sticky areas of your life, you will start to trust yourself again. You will start to tune in with yourself. And that's really, really important because I think a lot of the situations we find ourselves in, we before we just start to make that choice, we kind of get that feeling. I'm not if you ever that exact, but you kind of get that feeling you got going, don't think that's a good idea. You ignore it and do it anyway, or you don't do it, and then you wonder about why you end up then with a problem. If only you would have listened to yourself or checked in with yourself before, you know that's really important. You know, and then usually what some people are probably thinking is, well, I don't have time. Yeah, you do have time. You're
Yeah.
not using it wisely. If anything, what we're talking about is concrete things you can do. You know, get out your calendar or go on your mobile phone in your diary and just literally block in every week 1 hour. You know, 1 hour that is your time each week. Not to do any work, not to do any tasks, just for you, just to let yourself reset and remember. It could be literally just sitting outside, or it could be literally reading a book, or it could be just listening to a piece of music, it could be doing a jigsaw. Who cares? It's just your time, yeah, of being with yourself. And
And
that's really important again in building that relationship with yourself. Small shifts, small things that you can do. And again,
and
one of the things we
remember
go on.
and remember when it, just in addition to that, remember it's okay to change. If that 1 hour needs to be 2 hours, allow it to be 2 hours. Don't pigeonhole yourself into a position where, you know what, this is all I've allowed myself to, to decompress is the 1 hour. No, 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 no. Listen to you. Listen to what you're, you've got to allow yourself to heal. You've got to allow yourself to be yourself.
Absolutely. And that comes back into one of the things we talked about before. Is also really important. It's not only making that time for you 1 hour a week or whatever it is, but also why not actually start to speak truth again, to yourself and to other people around you. Pick one moment to say something real, if it's to yourself in the morning in the mirror or your partner or your mate down the pub or whatever it is. Make sure it's real. It could be a feeling, a boundary, a need, whatever it is. Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be deep, giving all your soul in that comment, but just be honest. That person who you feel is not doing the best thing in their life and they're a close friend, call it out. Call yourself out, around what you might be doing or not doing. Because again, if you can't be real with yourself, how can you then be real with others? And then how can they then become real with you? It's really important to engage in that. Back to that personal accountability, responsibility, the whole idea of importance of community and growing together.
Yeah. And you know what, guys, we're not trying to take and turn you into some mamby-pamby, Nancy guy, whatever. You know what? If what it takes is when you look in the morning, go, well, what do I need to do to make this day not so shitty?
Yeah,
You know, throw in those cuss words, make it, make yourself feel manly again. We're not asking you to take and go out and hug a kitten, okay? That's not what you need to do. But what you do need to do is you need to let yourself realize that you have heard your entire life that, men don't cry, men don't, you know, show emotions, men don't do this. And that's not true.
mm,
Men are allowed to have feelings. Men are allowed to have emotions. Men are healthier when they feel and when they share emotions, but and like I said, we're not saying you have to share everything, because you
No.
don't. You don't have to share everything, but don't keep it inside, and make sure that we're not just aware. Make sure that there's action behind that awareness. You have to take responsibility for your own action as well. If you're not feeling good, make sure that you walk up to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling a little effed up today. Feeling a little effed up, effed up today. What do I need to do to take care of this? Maybe if I could just talk to you and let this out a little bit, whether you're a friend, whether you're somebody like, give Joel, scan his code, talk to him, contact us. We'll get a hold of Joel for you. you know
Absolutely.
just say, hey, you know what, I got some things that I'd like to get off my chest and see what you have to think about it. I Look, Joel's never going to say, I know exactly what you feel, because that's not what we're trying to do.
No.
We're just trying to let you know that, what, there are tons of ways to heal out there. We want to make sure that you are aware of everything that's out there. So, because there's too many good people doing too many good things for you to have to feel like you're stuck.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Joel, tell us about what you got going on.
Yes, currently this morning in time, Zach, in regards to Rewire for Men, I've got a couple of festivals coming up that I'm going to, so I'm really looking forward to that. Really, getting out there on a stage, sharing what Rewire Men can do and the difference it can make. So I've got 2 or 3 of them coming up, which is great. In the process of finalizing some products around Rewire for Men. So I've written a book. So that should be coming out very, very soon. I've got a pack of reflection cards. I've got a workbook that I'm putting out there very soon of all the courses that I've been on. So really just great things which will appear on my website. And obviously my website is rewiredformen.com. So have a look at that where it stands at the moment. So yeah, all this stuff's like it's 6 years in the making, a lot of the written stuff that is finally coming to this point of when it's been ready to be out there. So yeah, really looking forward to it. This year's going well, mate. It really is.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. One of the things that Joel said is that a little bit earlier is, um, you know, we want to make sure that you understand that if anybody has something that they would like to come onto this show and talk about, get a hold of us. We'd love to have you come and work some things out. Maybe if you have something that you heard us say that you have questions about, or maybe even disagree with, or let's come on and let's talk about it. As long as you can talk like a civil human being, I have no problem you telling me that I'm wrong, because you know what? I've been wrong before many, many times. I have made mistakes. No, I've just made poor choices in my life. But, every everything I say is from what I learned after making those poor choices. And I still learn every day, Joel. I'm still learning about myself every day. So, and I think as long as we keep learning, as long as we keep fighting towards that journey, we can grow as men, and we can do what we need to do.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
So,
Because that's what it's all
Joel,
about. It's about learning, lifting yourself up, but also helping the people around you. You
yeah,
know, you can't do it alone, can you?
nope, nope, you can't. And you got to remember, you are not the only one facing your problems. Everyone else around you, your wife, your husband, your kids, your parents, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your coworkers. They all struggle when you struggle. Find out why you struggle, and let's stop being aware of it, and let's start taking some action. So, Joel, how do people get a hold of you, brother?
Yeah,
Other
you
than
can.
going to communitypayitforward.us/rewired for men.
Absolutely. Very much so. That's look at that. You're on the ball there, like it's that. That's one way to do it. The way to do it is obviously what Zak's already said. My website, I can get my hand on the right way. Oh, there you are. Down here in the corner, www.rewiredformen.com. But why not? You fancy a virtual coffee to learn more about what I do? Pleasure to see if it's right for you and working with me. Give that code a scan. I'll take you to my online diary and book in. No pressure, 30-minute call. But obviously, if you're over the pond in your district, it's different time zones because I'm in the UK. So there we are.
Well, there's always look there. Time limits are time limits. They are what they are. But the truth is, time is something that you've got to make time for yourself.
Yeah.
And working in an uncomfortable time every once in a while is the best thing you can do to heal yourself. Joel, you have a bunch of fun on your speeches, on your talks. Please, uh, let us know what else you've got going on. If you're recording any of them, why don't you go on ahead and send them to us, and we can maybe play them on the channel.
Look at that. I'll bear that in mind, Zak. I'll get my little minions in the audience to record it. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Have them sit there on their little cell phones and just make sure that they're not doing selfies and making funny faces. What the hell if they do it, that's fine too. So, but um Joel, thank you very much, and we will see you again next month when we bring up, if you have any suggestions, Zak, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us. Zak, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us. Send us a question. If you would like to join us, let us know. We will record with you. We can help you answer some questions. If you've got questions, you can bring us the way that you feel about what we're saying. This is not a he and I thing. This is a we thing. We together need to figure this out because we're all aware of what's going on. We have to start taking action. Joel, brother, thank you.
My pleasure as always. Thank you, Zak. Always great doing this with you, making difference to the lives of other people. That's what it's about.
Well, I love having you here, man. I think this is, this one show every month is one of the things that I really look forward to. I like being able to, it is kind of neat being able to talk to someone else and have that feeling of that, manly expectation, lifting it a little bit, because I don't feel like men can't cry. That's not the way that I've felt. I haven't felt that for a long time. But it's nice to be able to talk to somebody else who, can help assure me in some of the things that I struggle with. And I appreciate you working with me on that.
Thank you, Zak. Thank you for showing up and being real. That's what it's all about.
All right. We will see you next month.
Yes.
All right. Your business is your American dream, but today opening your doors comes with tough questions. Will customers walk in? Can I stock the shelves with what they need? Can I afford salaries? And how do I compete with a big box store down the road? That is exactly why we created Community Pay It Forward. Because in hard times, we need stronger communities led by people with bigger hearts. Our Shop, Click, and Pick program makes it simple. Every purchase at a participating small business supports a cause you care about. You shop, others thrive. Even when money is tight, you can still make a huge difference. You're not just shopping, you're supporting families, nonprofits, and your neighbors. That's the power of community. That's the power of the Community Pay It Forward family. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, you will be seen, you will be remembered, and you will be a hero for people in need everywhere. You, your business, and community pay it forward. Because no one needs to go it alone. When we all and once the beta testing is complete, the app will be out towards for everyone. Scan the QR code right here. Come on, tell us what you thought, what your thoughts are, and what you really like, what you would want changed. That way, Michael and his team can get together and get this app out, and we can start supporting more people. Thank you very much for joining me today for Footprints Forward. My name is Zak Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. Thank you to Joel. Thank you to Alan. And thank you to Mr. Z. Thank you to you. Please remember that if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Look, times are difficult. There's my dog that we were talking about earlier. Times are difficult right now. If you have an extra hoodie, throw it in the car, throw it to somebody who is going through a tough time, battling with elements. You got a little extra food, hit it in the old hillbilly Tupperware, throw it in the microwave, give it to somebody struggling with food. It means nothing to you, means everything to them. Please reach out to me via my For My card, which is up in the corner right now. Scan that For My card. You can go there. That is my digital business card. They are a Community Pay It Forward partner. And so if you shop with them, if you get your own For My card, that means that you can support someone in the community who needs help. Have a great day, folks. We will talk to you a little bit later on in the week. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Please take care of each other. Please make sure that you love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. We'll talk to you next week.